And here I'm going to present to you the different materials we have for our experiment later on. So today I'm going to show you the materials we're going to use for our experiments. So first we have our beaker, 2 beakers filled with water. Next we have a stirring rod. Then we also have a test tube. We have 2 gloves. Then we have a fire blanket, a Bunsen burner, a filter paper, goggles, and lastly we have a mask, face mask. So now we're going to discuss about the different laboratory safety guidelines. First off, we have the proper attire in the laboratory. So here we have a lab gown. Then next we have to tie our hair if you have long hair to avoid your hair getting caught up in chemicals. Like so. Then next we have to wear proper face masks. This is to avoid inhaling chemicals that are dangerous for your body. Then you have also to wear safety goggles to avoid chemicals to go into your eyes. Then you have to wear gloves, safety gloves, on both hands, so that when you're touching materials within the lab or when you're doing experiments, you won't be in direct contact with it. And lastly, you have to wear proper footwear. You have to wear shoes that are covered all over. So the proper way to smell the odor of a chemical. So when you're experimenting and you want to inhale or smell the odor of chemical, you have to remove your mask when your instructor tells you to do so. For example, we have a test tube here. Since this is not a heated test tube, you can directly hold it with your hands. But if it is, you have to use your test tube holder once again. So now, I'll show you the proper way to smell it. So instead of smelling directly and putting it under your nose, you have to move it far away from you and you have to waft it or fan it towards your nose, and that's the way you can smell it. So the proper way of pouring liquid chemicals. So for example, when you're pouring a liquid from a beaker into another beaker or another container, you should pour the liquid slowly down a glass stirring rod. So this is our materials here. So we have a stirring rod, a beaker, an empty beaker, and another beaker filled with water. So here, when you're transferring liquid from one beaker to another, you can hold the stirring rod, for example, this one, put it here. This is supposed to be longer, but in lieu of that, we have this. Like that. Put your stirring rod at the side of your beaker, of your empty beaker. And the one with the chemical, you have to pour it touching here. And as you can see, it's going down evenly and slowly. Yeah. And sometimes this is necessary if you want to separate the solid from the liquid. So that's all. Now that we're properly equipped with a proper attire, first I'll discuss the different materials for this certain experiment, which is the proper way of heating test tubes. So first, the material is test tube holder. We have a test tube and a Bunsen burner. So here, you have to hold the test tube at an angle. So using your test tube holder, you have to hold your test tube like this. Then, at an angle, so it should be in 45 degrees angle, and it should be facing away from you or anyone in your surroundings. For example, this is burning already. And when you're heating a test tube, you have to constantly move your test tube, not concentrating it in one spot. So from here, from the top to the top, then you move here, like that, and continue to do that until the mixture within the test tube is evenly heated. And then, in case if the Bunsen burner should go out, you have to immediately turn off the gas at the gas outlet bulb. So never leave a Bunsen burner unattended or anything that is being heated or visibly reacting, and always turn it off after you're using it. Next, we have proper way of holding a filter paper. So first, In lieu of filter paper, we have bond paper, and we have to cut it in a equal size, like a box. Since I'm done with that, I have this. Next, you have to fold it. Fold the paper in half, this, like so, half. Then, fold it into a quarter, a circle, next, quarter again. Then, fold it inward again, and fold it one more time, and this is the outcome of that folded paper. Next, you have to cut it that shape to make it a circle. But since we don't have that right now, let's just use this. Okay? So imagine that I already cut this paper into a perfect circle. Okay. A perfect circle. And based on the studies, you have to rip one part of the filter paper so that when you're using it in your beaker or like in your funnel, it will be able to stick easily like that, and it won't spill or break when you're transferring liquids like that. For example. Thank you. Okay. Now, what to do when there is a spillage, breaks, or injury? So if there happens to be a spillage of chemicals, like so, or breakage of beakers, or equipment containing chemicals, or injuries may have happened, immediately call upon the attention of the instructor, no matter how trivial it may appear. Okay. Next. So if there is a chemical splash in your eyes, immediately flush with running water to the eye wash station. At least 20 minutes. Next, if you have a group mate or if you're by yourself, notify the instructor immediately. Miss!
What happened?
Oh, some chemicals went into my eye.
So what did you do?
I washed it with water.
Continue washing your eyes. After that, you will go to the clinic.
So now, what to do when a fire starts? So first off, we have a fire blanket, which is also vital for laboratories that handle flammable materials or liquids. So the usage of fire blankets here, it helps smother the flames if someone's clothing ignites. For example, your lab building ignites, you have to utilize a fire blanket because that helps it in killing the fire. Next, after the person, so example, if you are burning, you have to drop on the floor and roll around to try to extinguish the flames. Then, a fire blanket can be used as a last resort. Okay. Next, as any safety equipment, the blanket should be kept in an obstructed and easily accessible area. For example, here, it's very easily accessible. Then, every lab needs the safety equipment in order to properly protect all laboratory personnel. So, for example, here, the beaker is on fire. Wow. Then, you go get your fire blanket and then just cover it over your burning beaker. And just like that, maybe in a mere few minutes, the fire will die off. In summary, we have performed 7 different safety guidelines. First, we have to wear proper laboratory attire. Next, the proper way to smell the odor of the chemical. Third, the proper way of pouring liquid chemicals. Fourth, the proper way of cleaning test tubes. Fifth, the proper way of folding a filter paper. Sixth, then the proper way of handling fires. And lastly, what to do when there's a spillage, break, or injuries during your lab experiment. So that's all. Thank you, and have a good day. I hope you learned something from us.